Nice colts, nice horses, race horses, like entirely Mike's. He's probably the best one right now. He's got the fastest time. Then there's Bucky's Bryden.
How fast did Entirely Mike's go?
He went around 2:1 or 2 minutes, I think. As a record. He's only 4. And he's got GL Bobby. I look after and drive GL Bobby. He's a nice horse.
Now, Thursday night fans that were at the races would have seen you win with GL Bobby.
Yeah, he took a new record Thursday night, 2-2-2. And this fella, he ain't a bad horse. He's run by narrow. And
what's your horse GL Bobby like physically compared to this one?
he's about the same size as this horse. He ain't quite as rambunctious as this horse. But he looks something like him in the head. About it.
Now, if you had to pick one of these as your favorite, which one would it be?
The next horse is kind of a favorite. He's raced here in the Maritimes pretty well all his life. He was down country for a few starts. The winner's accolade, he's owned by Russ Burgoyne. And he's raced here in the Maritimes. He's won pretty well every major free-for-all event here. He's won the Gold Cup and Saucer. And I don't know, I think he might have been one of the first horses ever to pace in 2 minutes here at Truro.
Now, you actually had something to do with his racing career? Or?
Yeah, I looked after him 2 or 3 times whenever he was 2 and as a 3-year-old some. And he's got a couple, he's done really well. He's got Grampy's Winner. He's a really nice horse. He raced in Ontario all winter. He had Denaxton Winner. She was a 3-year-old Atlantic Sire filly champion. And he's got Dixie's Accolade. He took a record of 59 and a bit. And he kind of puts good racehorses right on the track.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's move on to the next horse. Horse by the name of Boone and Crockett.
Boone and Crockett, he's from Shubenacadie. He stands at the Pin Hill Farms, owned by Dr. Jim Shives.
Right.
And he's a real nice horse. He raced down in the United States most of the time, so he did. And his first yearlings will be on the auction block for sale this fall, in this fall sales, so he will.
Yeah. Now, why would Dr. Shives have brought this horse into?
Well, this horse, he's got a record of 153, and it's a pretty good record. As you can see, he's a pretty big horse. And Dr. Jim's kind of hoping, he used to own Terraport Irvin. He was a good stallion, and he had to put him to sleep, so he's hoping this fellow will kind of take his place.
So we'll look for his colts. They'll probably have a PH tag on the first part of their name. Was that right?
Well, the ones that always come off the Pin Hill Farms has PHs, but he's bred a lot of outside mares. So he has. He bred, I'd say, 100 mares the first year that he stood here. So he's done pretty well.
So that'll be the summer of 1993, I guess, that his colts will see the races.
They should be back here.
Now, people coming through the display, is there one horse that they tend to pick out as one they like to look at, or? Well,
this next horse, he's kind of a new horse in the stallion, Burns. He hasn't had a great big chance, a great big group of mares yet, but look for next year maybe for him to get quite a few.
Which one's this?
This is Basie. He's down. He's owned by 3 people. Ralph Fitzgerald owns, Scott Weeks owns him, and Sonny Sightman. And he's a nice horse. He raced here, he raced with the hobbles on or without the hobbles. I think he holds the record here for a three-legged horse, right here in Truro. And it's his first colts will be for sale this fall, too.
Now, does he have the same breeding as a horse like Boone and Crockett, or?
This fella here, he's Nukes LaBelle. He's out of an Albatross mare. He's got about the same cross as Baum Wrinkles. He stands in Quebec. And they like Baum Wrinkles a lot, and this fellow's pretty well the same cross. So that's what he'll be looking to get some different mares.
There you have it. 6 horses who all have incredible speed, incredible desire, and maritime breeders are hoping they'll pass it on to their offspring and race here at Truro Raceway.
And now we're going to go to Kevin with our first feature race of the evening. It was run on Thursday, July 30th as a part of Atlantic Grand Circuit Week.
Our first feature race is the Atlantic Sires Stakes for 3-year-old pacing fillies. Now, this is a classic confrontation between 2 top-notch fillies. One some nice catch The other one, Gemini Ginger. Some Nice Catch has won 11 races in a row, which happens to be the longest win streak in maritime racing right now. But she hasn't run into Gemini Ginger for quite some time. Gemini Ginger in recent weeks has recorded the fastest times in the 3-year-old division, therefore is the seasonal champion, so this is a long-awaited matchup. Russell Burgoyne drives Some Nice Catch. Dan O'Brien drives Gemini Ginger for Gemini Hill Stables of St. John, New Brunswick. Couple outsiders, well, maybe only one. Dunville Chips. Danny Romo off the rail might get a good trip if we see a speed battle at the front between Gemini Ginger and Some Nice Catch. But the question is, will the win streak come to an end? Here's Joe Kelly with the race call.
Race number 10, A division of the 3-year-old pacing fillies. Dunville Chips, Ellendale Dawn, Some Nice Catch, Gemini Ginger, Dolly Finance, Dusty Lane Blue, Hillview Cindy, and T-Bear Paper Doll. Here they come. They're off and pacing, and as they leave the gate, Some Nice Catch and Gemini Ginger are doing battle early as they hit the first turn. Down inside Dunville Chips as they move by the 8th and into the backstretch. Way on top, that's Some Nice Catch. Dunville Chips gets away in the pocket. Settling in out the rail third is Gemini Ginger. 4th as they move to the opening quarter, Dolly Finesse. Ellendale Dawn looks at it from 5. Racing in 6 is Dusty Lane Blue. From 7 is T-Bear Paper Doll. And trailing the field, that's Hillview Cindy. They continue on to the top turn. Single file led by Some Nice Catch. She'll dictate the early pace. Dunville Chips will get a golden trip. Next in line, Gemini Ginger is 3rd. Dolly Finesse takes a look at a 4. Holding down 5. Ellendale Dawn now looking to the passing lane. 29 seconds was the opening quarter. Here they come through the stretch, approaching the half. Some Nice Catch in control by 1. Dunville Chips gets the perfect journey 2nd. Gemini Ginger races 3rd. Up on the outside is Ellendale Dawn with Dolly Finesse at the rail. They dipped into the turn, moving on to the 5/8. 59 2/5 seconds was the half. And there goes Gemini Ginger moving up to confront Some Nice Catch. At the rail, Dunville Chips is 3rd. Dolly Finesse is racing at a 4. Down the backstretch, final time. Some Nice Catch, 3 parts of a length. Gemini Ginger the outside. Dunville Chips at the rail is sitting 3rd. Then a gap of some 5-6 lengths to Dolly Finesse. They move on to the top turn. Some Nice Catch looking strong out front. She has it back by 1 length. On the inside, Dunville Chips reclaims 2nd. Gemini Ginger on the outside is 3rd. 1:28 2 the 3/4. They straighten out for the stretch drive. Some Nice Catch. Dunville Chips now coming out to challenge. Some Nice Catch. Dunville Chips on the outside. Some Nice Catch holding on. 2nd is Dunville Chips. 3rd is Gemini Ginger.
There's more to Atlantic Grand Circuit Week than just harness racing. Each year, horsemen trade in their racing silks for golf shirts. Kevin spoke with Sonny Doyle about this year's golf tournament held at the Mountain Golf Course.
Well, we have a variety of people to starts, and really it's for the people on the backstretch. Grooms, trainers, drivers, some owners, all their families, anybody that wants to come, staff of the Truro Raceway, outside drivers, really anybody connected with horses are more than welcome to come out and play.
A lot of work goes into organizing this tournament, Sonny. Why do you do it?
Well, it's all part of the Truro Horse Owners Association plan. As you know, we have quite a few things on the go, breakfasts and an awards banquet, so on and so forth. And this golf is just another part of trying to have a social life around the racetrack.
Could you expand a little bit on the breakfast?
Yeah, each year, the Horse Owners Association, we put on a free breakfast in the grandstand, and it's open for the general public or the horsemen, or really it's to get people to come in. They want to talk to trainers or grooms, or, you know, it's just, again, it's another part of the social life around the racetrack.
How was the turnout for the golf tournament and the breakfast this year?
Both were real good. We had a lot more for the free breakfast than we did at golf, but both of them turned out, we had real good numbers.
Racing fans are used to seeing these guys on the track driving, but which of the horsemen handles the club pretty well?
Well, we have quite a few decent golfers. Kenny St. John's a good golfer, Doug Pauley Jr., Stan Nelson, Ronnie Mason. There's quite a number of respectable golfers.
Who came out on top this year?
Doug Pauley Jr. came out. He had a real good score. He had a 36.42 for 78, which is respectable on any golf course.
And what course did you golf on?
We played out at the Mountain.
I understand you had a lot of prizes to give out. Could you expand on that a bit?
Yeah, well, basically what we do, we go to each stable and ask for something and we put a value on it so one doesn't have more than the other type of thing. And we have a couple of sponsors that donate some of the things, like owners and other horse people that are in business. They give us prizes. And this year the top prize was a Coleman canoe with all the trimmings, and we had chairs and backpacks and coolers and thermoses, a little bit of everything. Anything you can imagine, shirts, jackets, we had pretty well everything there.
What's the rapport like on the golf course between the horsemen compared to on the racetrack?
Well, on the racetrack, it's all business. Out in the golf course, it's mostly fun. We had people out in the center field 2 weeks ahead of the tournament practicing, you know, so they could beat somebody that they were teasing all along. So it's quite good out there.
So once the golfing was over, was that it for the day, or?
No, when the golf was over, we came back here and management, actually it was the Atlantic Winter Fair, sponsored a nice barbecue and a meal, and we gave out the prizes back here. So again, another part of the social life in the track.
I even heard some music coming from the tent, didn't I?
Yeah, we had a fiddle and I guess with Cy Steele and somebody else in there. It was real good. Had a good time.
So Sonny, which would you rather do? Drive in a race or play golf?
Well, I'm not real good at either one, but I'd just soon play golf. That would suit me just fine.
Thanks, Sonny.
Okay.
The Exhibition Cup, there's $10,000 on the line, and we're going to find out who's the fastest horse in Atlantic Canada at this stage in the season. Now, a very interesting sidelight to this race is a local angle in that Kilkieran Ingle and Kilkieran Fury, for the first time in their lives, will be in the same race. Now, these two are full brothers. Ingle's owned by Doug Ferguson of Tatamagouche. Kilkieran Fury's owned by Wathen Piers. Emmons McKay had a tough dilemma here in that he could only drive one of them. He's driving Fury because he's the trainer. Claire MacDonald will drive Ingle. Claire drove the horse once last year and was a winner. So watch for those two, but there's lots of other competition as well. Number 1, King Tyler, holds a track record at Fredericton. One of the region's best drivers, Steve Mahar, will be driving. And there's a couple entries from outside of the province, new to the region. One is number 5, Warp Zone, for Dr. Ian Moore on Prince Edward Island, and number 7, Winds of Peace, another recent acquisition to Island Connections. Also in the field, Keystone Lingo from the Webby Stables in Dartmouth, he's number 3. Charlie Sham, a former winner of the Exhibition Cup, is number 6. And number 8, Christopher C. Down, Kilkieran Ingle's main competition last year in the 3-year-old division, and he also has lots of speed. I'm not going to make a prediction. Let's just enjoy the race. Here's Joe Kelly.
Race number 10 of the evening is the Truro Horsemen's Club Exhibition Cup Invitational from the Railroad. King Tyler with Gary MacDonald, Kilkieran Fury and Emmons McKay. Keystone Lingo with Robert Laughlin, Kilkieran Ingle with Claire MacDonald. 5 is Warp Zone with Ian Moore. 6, Charlie Sham with Paul MacDonald. Winds of Peace is 7 with Earl Smith. And 8, Christopher C. Down with Jody Hennessy. They're at the top of the stretch, and here they come. They're off and pacing. King Tyler at the rail is away quickly with Kilkieran Fury on the outside looking for the lead. Kilkieran Ingle gets away on the limb 3rd. Keystone Lingo down at the rail is 4th. Up on the outside, caught 3 wide into the early going, moving into 4. That's Winds of Peace. They head to the backstretch for time 1. Kilkieran Ingle now forging on to the top. Outside, Winds of Peace is racing 2nd. Down at the rail and sitting 3rd past the opening quarter is Kilkieran Fury. King Tyler at the rail is sitting in 4th. Warp Zone next in line 5. Keystone Lingo races in 6. Charlie Sham is 7th. And Christopher C. Down is the early trailer. 27 2/5 seconds, the opening quarter. They move off the top turn. Kilkieran Ingle is leading the way by 1 length as they round the top turn in front of the grandstand. Winds of Peace has found the pocket. Racing out the rail 3rd, Kilkieran Fury. Here comes Warp Zone moving up first over. Following live cover is Keystone Lingo. Kilkieran Fury gets locked in at the rail. Then King Tyler, Charlie Sham, and Christopher C. Down trails. They move over to the 5/8, 56 and 4. They move on to the 3/4. Ingle. He's still alive in the front end, leads it by 2, wins a piece second. Here comes Keystone Lingo on the outside. He takes over second. Out there, 3 wide. Charlie Sham is coming third. Dropping back, wins a piece is fourth. They move on to the 7/8. It's Kilkerringle clear by 2. On the outside, Charlie Sham is racing second. 1:26 and 2. We have a shot at the track record. Kilkerringle leading it by 2. Keystone Lingo is sitting second. Charlie Sham third. Through the stretch, Kilkerringle, he's widening the gap to 3. Kilkerringle wins the French Exhibition Cup. Second is Keystone Lingo, and finishing third is Charlie Sham. Ladies and gentlemen, now parading back into victory lane. The winner of the 1992 Truro Horsemen's Club Exhibition Cup Invitational number 4, Kilkerringle. He's a 4-year-old brown son of oil count out of the Rhythm Time Dam Libby Time Rigs, owned by Doug Ferguson of Tatamagouche, driven to victory by the First Lady of Canadian Harness Racing, Claire MacDonell. We've just witnessed the fastest mile ever paced over Truro's Oval. Kilkerringle setting a new track record, 1:55 and 4/5.
4 of the best drivers in Canada made appearances at Atlantic Grand Circuit Week last Thursday. They have won thousands of races and millions of dollars. Kevin caught up with them and sends us this.
Okay, here with Paul MacDonell, one of the up-and-coming stars on the Ontario Jockey Circuit. Paul won $1.6 million last year, driving horses like Billy Joe Jim Bob, one of the best trotters in the world. And we welcome you, Paul, to Truro Raceway.
Well, thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Okay, first off, Paul, you drove here last year. What's your impressions of the half-mile track here in Truro?
Well, this is a really nice racetrack. The turns are really nice. I like the hub rail that they have installed a couple of years ago, and it's a real nice track to get over.
Now, you've probably driven a little bit in Flamborough with the passing lane. What's your impression? What do you think of the passing lane?
Well, I have drove a few times over there, not that many, and I haven't really had the occasion to use it too much, but it looks like it's exciting for racing. You know, you get a few more horses to get into the race now, whereas when they'd be boxed in before, they wouldn't get into the race. So it's a new concept, and I think it's going over well.
I realize Greenwood and Mohawk are 5/8 mile tracks, but do you ever think you'd see a passing lane there?
There's been talk of it, and Rideau Carleton's a 5/8 mile track, and they have a passing lane. So eventually, if it keeps getting as popular as it is, I imagine the Jockey Club will have them installed.
Now, I understand you have a connection to here in Nova Scotia. Could you explain that a little bit? Or?
That's right. I have my father was raised down in Cape Breton in the Inverness County area, and I have quite a few uncles, aunts, cousins that are quite into harness racing, and a lot of them will be here tonight.
Now, are there any marquee races on your schedule that people can watch for coming up this summer?
Well, it's hard to say, you know, because horses are horses, and you never know what's going to happen in the future. But yeah, there's going to be a few nice horses that I'll be driving in the future, and hopefully they'll be good enough to get on TV and win some races.
So what's Billy Joe Jim Bob like to sit behind?
He's probably one of the nicest trotters anybody would ever like to sit behind. There's nothing to driving him. He just goes forward, you know, and he's perfectly gaited and perfectly mannered. He's just great in every way.
So in some ways, a horse is like Billy Joe Jim Bob, going for the big money. It's a lot easier to drive than maybe some of the starts you might have here tonight.
Well, it's quite possibly, yes. But there's a good bunch of horses we drove here last year, and they were all pretty good on their feet, and we had a good time here last year driving, no problems. So we're looking forward to another good night tonight.
Thanks. Hope to see you back next year.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, back with Dave Wall, consistently one of the top drivers in Canada on the Ontario Jockey Circuit. Dave is always in the upper echelons, won well over $1 million last year. First off, Dave, you're a long way from Toronto, you're a long way from Mohawk here today. Why do you come to Truro?
Well, we were out here last year, and we had such a good time, and they invited us back again, so certainly we wanted to come, so we all come again. We had a real good time.
Now, this track here at Truro, what's your opinion on the surface?
It's a real good half-mile track. They've looked after it well, and I think it's probably one of the best tracks around here anyway.
Now, you're known as one of the busiest drivers in Ontario. What's a typical day for Dave Wall?
Well, I don't train as many horses as I used to. Right now we got about 22 head, I guess, and I race usually 6, sometimes 7 nights a week, but I keep it usually at 6. Usually take one day a week off if I can arrange it.
Is there one horse that you would pick out as the fastest in your stable right now?
I have a good 3-year-old colt, a Walton Hanover colt. He's pacing 54, and I got a couple of good 2-year-olds that they've only been in 58, but they look like they're going to be competitive, so hopefully they'll come along all right.
You say only 58. Is that training or is that racing?
No, they've raced in 50. They've paced miles in 58.
What do you consider a good time for a 2-year-old in terms of getting money in the Ontario Sire Stakes?
Well, the Sire Stakes have picked up a lot in the last couple of years, but if you got a 2-year-old pacer that can pace between 57 and 59, he's usually going to get you some money.
What can you tell us about odds against?
Odds against isn't a very big horse. He's perfect mannered, and if you don't use him much early, he's got a big kick coming home. And I've only raced him about 5 times, and I was fortunate enough. I think I won 4 of them with him. And then the other night I raced him in the Pacing Derby, and he finished 3rd. But he was in against a pretty good horse. I think Arch Place probably the best horse in the world right now. So he raced well.
So is that what happened the night he paced in 150? He got a good trip and had a kick at the end, or?
Yeah, they went some pretty good fractions that night, but he come home in 27 and 2, I think it was, off the world record time. So he can finish off any kind of a mile.
Now, what's your opinion of the open stretch racing or the passing lane?
I've only raced in it maybe 4 or 5 times. I think it gives the better a chance. Especially if the favorite's locked in the 2-hole and he can't get out, they head the lane. This way he's got a shot at getting out and winning. So I think it gives the better chance for his money.
Now, just to end off, Dave, if you had to pick out one highlight in your career, what would it be?
Oh, I guess probably winning the North America Cup with a horse I trained myself and drove. That was probably the highlight of my career. But I've had a lot of good luck in the game, so it's hard to point out the better parts of it. But that was certainly one of the biggest moments of my life.
Backtrack side again with Doug Brown. Doug's was named the Canadian Driver of the Year for the last 4 years. Over 4,800 wins, won $3.1 million last year. Doug, welcome to Truro.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
Now, you're a long way from Greenwood and Mohawk. Why come all the way down here?
Well, the same 4 guys came down last year, and we had a real good time, and they treated us real well. And they phoned and asked us to come again this year, and we were more than happy to come down.
Now, what's the difference between the horses that you drive here compared to in Ontario, besides speed?
Basically, that's pretty well the only difference. Horses are horses, no matter what they are. Some are a little better mannered maybe than others, and that's why they're not better class racehorses, because of the way they're acting. They're not pacing properly and making breaks and stuff, and that makes them a cheaper horse. But other than that, I can't really see a whole lot of difference. Like I say, a horse is a horse, and fast one's a fast one, slow one's a slow one.
You represented Canada last year in the World Driving Championship in New Zealand. Can you tell us a bit about that experience?
Oh, we had a very good time down there. The racing was much different. There's what they call a push-out rule. If your wheels are ahead of the guy on the outside, you can just push your way out, and there's nothing said about it. And other than that, it's a lot the same, except they go more distance races rather than the mile, and there's no early lead changes. They leave out and they sit in their position, whether it's on the outside or 3 wide or wherever, and nobody really makes any moves until the last 1/8 of a mile or last 1/4 of a mile. They pretty well all sit in their own position until then before they try to make any speed.
Well, that must be hard to adapt to, that push-out rule. Did you have any problem? Or?
Yeah, I got pushed out a couple of times, and I was in a position, I think it was the last race I had, to push out, and it just never crossed my mind. I stayed 3rd on the rail, boxed in, and it never crossed my mind to push out, just because of the fact that we just can't do it up here.
Speaking of pushing out and getting free in the lane, what do you think of the passing lane that we have here in Truro, and like the one they have in Flamborough?
I've been to a few places that they have it. Scioto Downs has it, and I personally don't really like it. I think it takes away from the racing. You go to all the work to make the front and keep a guy boxed in behind you. It's part of the strategy, and this way you've got no way of keeping the guy in behind you. And of course, if you're in the 2-hole, it's a little different ball game. But I mean, 9 times out of 10, with the passing lane, a horse that should never have won the race will win the race, and I think that's what causes more long shot winners. Like, you could sit in the 2-hole other tracks and wouldn't get out through the stretch, and the favorite probably would win if he was in front. Where with the passing lane, a lot of horses that shouldn't win will end up winning, and I just don't like it at all myself.
Just to close off, Doug, can you pick out a career highlight or a few things that stand out?
Well, there's a number of, and people may not understand when I say that winning the Gold Cup in Sauster at Prince Edward Island was rates up there with any of them. It was just the atmosphere itself was just something I've never known before. The Little Brown Jug is unbelievable too, but just it's like the whole province shuts down just for the one day for the race, and I was really excited about being there, and I hope to be able to go back again. Of course, Town Pro winning 2 Breeders' Crowns was a big thing for me too. So there's a number of them, but I still have to say the Gold Cup and Saucer rates up there with them all.
Okay, back now with Steve Kandra. Now, Steve is always near the top in the Ontario jockey circuit, has close to $30 million in earnings lifetime, and over 3,300 wins. Steve, welcome to Truro Raceway.
Thanks very much.
Now, Steve, you're a long way from home. Why do you come all the way down here to Truro?
Well, I kind of was out here a few years ago, and I was really impressed on the way things are done out here, and it just reminds me how things were, 10, 15 years ago when I first started, and it was the love of it all then that got me into it, and it's the way it is out here that it keeps me in it.
So it's sort of a different way of looking at the sport, is that fair to say? Or?
No, not really a different way of looking at it, just the attraction that got me into the business still exists out here today, where at home, it's more business and money's involved. Here it's a lot more fun, a lot more entertaining, and a lot more camaraderie going around, and most people race for the fun of it.
If you had to pick out a highlight in your racing career, what would it be?
I think probably winning either the North American Cup a few years ago or the Maple Leaf Trot. I think those 2 races stick in my mind, and it was quite a thrill winning $1 million race.
Could you tell us a little more about that race?
Well, the horse was Goalie Jeff, and he went on to be a top 3-year-old that year, and I just kind of lucky I backed into the drive for that day, and worked out. He had a bad position, and it just worked out that he got the job done, so I was pretty happy over it.
Do you have any major races on your schedule upcoming?
Geez, not offhand. I just got over a little bit of traveling and running around, but I don't think I have anything coming up in the next little while, so hopefully it all gets better in the fall.
What do you think of the racing surface here at Truro?
Oh, it's pretty good. I think the track suits a lot of horses here, and it's very fast, so I mean, you can't help but like it.
Now, I understand that you've done a bit of charity work through your driving. Could you explain that?
Yeah, a couple of years ago I was approached by a couple of guys, and they thought of an idea of trying to win races, and people participated in donating so much a win, same as like a kid would go around and for a swimming meet or something like that. And we did the same thing. We ended up raising over $20,000 for the Big Brothers of Ontario, or actually Toronto and Halton, just in the whole area of Ontario, and it worked out real good. We were very pleased with it.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Best of luck.
Okay, thank you very much.
And that's Keeping Pace for this week. Racing fans are reminded that racing resumes Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. and Sundays at 1:30. If you have comments or suggestions, please write us at Keeping Pace, care of Eastern Cable, Channel 4, 69 Walker Street, Truro, Nova Scotia, B2N 4A8. Thanks for watching, and see you at the track.